Perfect.
That's good.
It's perfect. All right. Ready?
Yep.
Trying to think how I want to start this. Hello and welcome to Chump Change. I am GarboArtist or Lorenzo, and with me here I have
Pree. Big Chump. The other half.
Yes. This is episode 2 of Chump Change. For any weirdos who want to know when we recorded it, today is August the 26th. Almost said 22nd. How you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good. Another fun fact. It's about 4:00 in the afternoon.
Oh, we're just gonna share. We are currently in. I'm trying to think what the regions. I'm gonna bleep this out anyway, so it seems like I redacted my address. We are in the.
Mm-hmm.
So the first episode was our test episode. Audio quality is a lot different now. We have purchased these Rode podcast mics, not just for the podcast, but also for other production value.
I was using the snowball ice.
He's using a blue snowball, yes, and I was using a blue. Okay.
That's it. You're just using.
See, I didn't get to see this last time, so it's a little more distracting now.
I told you Peg was a distracting
you. You're gonna get the ADHD out of me now.
Yeah.
I actually might need to turn off my headphones for this.
Yeah.
So we didn't call it to attention last time. If you guys watched on Spotify or listened on Spotify or what was the other one?
Apple Music.
Apple Music.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
If you listen to this anywhere that's not YouTube, we didn't call it out. Pree's playing Peggle, or he was playing Peggle last week. He's playing Peggle Nights this week because it's the next game. I think he said he was like a couple levels from finishing it.
Yeah, I was pretty close.
So 2 hours too. 2 hours.
Yeah, that's and I was really like sandbagging. Like a lot of the rounds I just completely failed.
So I expect him to finish this game by the hour.
Hopefully.
But I already forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I was using a blue. I think it's called a Spark bottle mic. If you watch my streams or if you look at any of my YouTube videos, you'll probably see it. It's like a little orange. I had it on my desk. I don't know where I put it. It's an orange bottle microphone though from Blue. So we decided. So we're on the same level. He would come to my home office. I moved this couch right here into my home office. For us to sit on, turn on the camera, and record this, and you'll be seeing Peggle right here on this green screen. So,
pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
The way that it was presented the last time was pretty good. So hopefully this one's a little more interactive for the viewer.
Yes.
Because I personally believe that there is a lot of facial expressions that really add to a video.
Absolutely.
Just because there is that additional visual effect that we should take advantage of.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually transitions a little bit into what we've been talking about for planning. We're calling this season 1 Big Chumps, either for the podcast or in general. This is the set. We're currently playing Peggle and watching all of the recording stuff on my 2 not matching computer monitors. So the hope is that we re-outfit my office or we re-outfit the living room in my apartment to better suit the podcast and other shows we have in mind, where me and him need to be together present on camera. Yeah, that last ball really got you.
Yeah, that was a real nice one. I wasn't expecting that.
So yeah, just a little bit of production value for our sake, because we wanted it. And if you are currently listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, help us out. Give us a view on YouTube. It would really help, even if you just keep it on in the background. Or if you just want to see this amazing Peggle gameplay happening right now. I'm not watching it anymore because I turned off my mic or my headset so I don't have to hear it.
Oh yeah, it's very engaging and immersive.
Now I'm looking at it. I'm watching.
Oh
it now.
yeah. Ooh.
So you had some topics for us this week.
Actually, yeah, yeah. So last week we actually talked about our high school experience and what we thought about high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking this week we go on to some of our next stages of life,
Mm-hmm.
and I would believe that would be academia or college, something like that,
Like Buku no Hero,
like that
Academia?
sort. Yeah, sure. You know,
Yeah.
if we're still in high school, but we're going
and
into
had
the real world.
superpowers.
Mhm. And have superpowers. Yeah, don't forget that.
Or quirks, whatever they call them.
Yeah, so I want to say we should start off with explaining our
Our current school situation.
current school situation. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and start first.
Okay.
I did community college, and now I'm going to a state university.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say,
Oh, sorry,
dang, just missed it.
I thought you were gonna bank shot that.
Yeah, I was hoping too, but no. But
See, this is why I didn't want a game on the podcast,
see,
man. I'm distracted.
see, look, see whose fault is this? I told you.
It's your fault. You wanted this.
See, I was fine.
I should have put it on this monitor for you. I wish I could have put it on this monitor for you.
That's a good point.
Because then I wouldn't see it. I could just.
So it's out of your way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm gonna get distracted.
You see, this is what the viewer gets to see,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just in the background talking.
Yeah,
you know?
we're just here. We're hanging out. I'm trying to watch the audio recording and the game recording and us
yeah.
more than I'm trying to watch Peggle. But Peggle's on the game recording.
But yeah, so back to school.
State University.
Yeah, so I went to community college for longer than 2 years. I just want to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say I am pretty happy with my decision, but I feel like I missed out on the opportunity to try university life like dorming.
Yeah.
You know, like being part of a fraternity or a sorority type of deal.
Well, I don't know about sorority.
Well, yeah, well, you know, just putting that out, you know, like, cause
I know you're generalizing for the listeners.
Yeah. So I was wondering, what were your thoughts on, you know, the traditional academia route? Because you took a different approach.
Yeah, so my post high school education was very interesting because it technically started before I even left high school. You've been there for the entire adventure. I'll share a little bit of the personal part too. I wasn't doing too hot in high school. There was a lot of personal stuff that was going on. So my family sent me to the Treasure Island Job Corps in San Francisco. Is that... Technically, it's San Francisco. It's there. It's the same shit. So that is a... Jesus Christ, it's so distracting. So that's technically a trade school, and they help you get your high school diploma if you don't have one. I got my high school diploma there. It was a dorm system. It was a live-in situation for minors and for those who were not able to commute to the facilities. So I did get that dorm life, and it was interesting. It was really cool because the more friends I made, the living in the dorm situation didn't seem as bad. I was totally against it at first. I didn't want to do it. And eventually, you know, I'd go on to make a probably another lifelong friend I would consider, and he'd be my roommate. He'd end up moving into my dorm because, you know, we hit it off really cool as friends, and he felt comfortable in my dorm. And that situation was really cool because it was like all the shenanigans you think about having a friend over for a sleepover, right? You know, me and him, we had like Keurig and a Brita water filter. We'd freaking make cup of noodle out of the Brita in the middle of the night because you know, there was like floor shut down. Like at a certain hour, the lights were out. You weren't allowed to leave the dorm.
Yeah, and then you guys don't have any like kitchen setup in there.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to have any like cooking apparatuses, but somehow a Keurig was okay because pour the water in, it makes you coffee instantly. So they were okay with that, and I was like, okay, if the Keurig's okay, I'm gonna make cup noodle out of it because I can just not put a K cup in there and it's hot water.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'd end up moving it, and because I was became the student body president, so I'd move into my office. But like all the shenanigans of just staying up late or having a friend sleep 5 feet in the bed across the room.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting experience. I recommend it to a lot of people who are in the age bracket to go to Job Corps. I say, hey, if school's not your thing, or you're just, you're stuck in like your McDonald's career right now, just go, dude. Just go. Go do something that will better your life. So after that, by the time I left there, I was 18. My parents said, you can go to college, you can work, you can do whatever you want. We talked about it in the last episode. You and I were working from the jump before, or as soon as we could, just so we had money to pay for stuff that we wanted.
Yeah.
And obviously, being 18, it went from just buying what I wanted to, hey, I need to pull my weight. I need to survive. So I chose to work. I think I spent a year and a half extra, almost 2 years, before I started going to university.
Yes, something around that.
It was like the end of 2020 is when I started going to school.
Yeah.
Which was a perfect time, apparently. It was a perfect time. I currently go to Full Sail University. I am I'm aiming to get my bachelor's degree in computer animation. I'll outright say it. I wish I didn't have a partner for the sake of me feeling comfortable going to Florida to do in-person learning.
Like partner as in like a significant other, right?
Yeah, my girlfriend.
Okay.
So not that I wish I didn't have Bad Moon, because she's done a lot of good for me, personally. But I couldn't ask her to inconvenience herself to move across the country. I felt like that was not irresponsible, but it wasn't a justifiable ask.
Yeah.
That her family's out here, my family's out here. It's a lot to ask someone to go to the other side of the states, and let alone, I'm also going to be in a place where no one I know is going to be there.
Like even remotely close.
Yeah, no, like solid 6-hour flight.
Yeah, and then
minimum.
If you get locked out your house, who helps you?
Yeah, right. And then obviously, like, I wouldn't have my car. I need someone to drive my car here. I need to take a couple weeks to drive my car out there, and then I have to re-register. Like, there's a whole process. But the biggest thing was I can't justify asking her to move to Florida with me, because I wouldn't be in a dorm situation. I wouldn't be able to do a dorm situation with a partner. I'd have to go rent an apartment there.
Is that like your your Job Corps thing?
No. Like,
or is that for Full Sail?
I think just dorms in general, you can't have a partner with you.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the general rule. If it's a school dorm, I think there's co-ed dorms in some schools, but typically, you're sharing your dorm with another student.
Yeah.
So in order to get the privacy I wanted, or to feel comfortable, in an unknown area, I'd get my own apartment, and that alone comes with its own costs and risks.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Florida, housing market is. Maybe it would have been better for me to go that way instead of staying in California, but that's my situation. I wish I was able to go do in-person schooling, because I feel like I've lost that social aspect of school. I can definitely tell you I do not feel as engaged in university right now as I did at Job Corps. And I think part of that is that being physically there, and I'm basically at home. There's nothing stopping me from fucking around my time. And when we lived together last year, you'd see it. Like, I'd fuck off my time and then do my homework last minute.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that most students don't.
I am one of them. A lot of my community college, because that last year was during COVID, online Zoom meetings, I was asleep for a good majority of them. And we had, I don't know if it's only meant for those like at-home workers, but like we have to track you're there.
Yeah.
So we had eye clickers, or like an online class participation, and I would just sleep. As soon as I hear the ding from the from the program saying, "Hey, you need to click a button," I'll just choose C and just go back to sleep. And then you see, you also got to be a little smarter than that, right? Because if you just go to sleep and you don't wake up and you're just in an empty Zoom meeting with you and the professor,
They know that you slept through their
class. So I also had an alarm for when the class was supposed to be over.
I was gonna say when it should end.
When it should end, yeah. If they ended early, I was just glad they just never ended early.
You also had the benefit of one of our we talked about him last episode too. Our Yu-Gi-Oh friend. You shared a class with him.
Yeah, he was in some of my classes.
Oh, more than just the one?
Yeah, a couple of them.
Nice.
And what was interesting, so funny story. I was in a class with him. It was for physics or whatnot, and we had a worksheet that we were supposed to be doing independently, and then we would just convene after 20 or 30 minutes, and everyone mutes their mic. I was like, all right, I'm good, my mic's muted, whatnot. And then I just go to watch some YouTube video. I don't remember who I was watching, right? And
hopefully not Amaranth.
No. And I didn't have a 2-monitor setup at the time.
Oh, that's right. You were using the TV off of the.
Yeah, and I didn't have the TV hooked up. So.
Wait, what monitor was that? I'm trying to think. What is that monitor?
Yeah, just the normal monitor I had. Yeah, and it was crazy because there was no notification outside of the Zoom program. Like you don't it doesn't immediately pop up or anything like that for when someone private messages you. So I guess I'm 2 minutes into this video. My girlfriend's behind me, so I'm talking to her like, "Hey, how's your day?" And then I'm like, "All right, well, I'm just gonna sit here because I'm already done with the worksheet." I get a call from the Yu-Gi-Oh friend, and I was like, "Huh? Well, we're in the same Zoom. I wonder what he's calling me about." So I answer the phone. I'm like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And he's like, "Hey, you're unmuted." I'm like, "Huh? No way!" Literally as those. I was like, "Nah, man. No absolute way." And then I go back. The professor's camera's on, and he's just laughing at this conversation. I immediately go mute my mic, and I'm just sitting there full red as a beet, just embarrassed. And I'm like, okay.
Hey, so I've seen a lot of YouTube and Twitch fails.
Yeah.
And then, with COVID, a lot of the Reddits turned into Zoom fails.
Yeah.
Just be happy you and your girlfriend did nothing crazy, or you weren't talking about anything crazy, or, mom and dad didn't get into an argument outside your door.
So there's another thing, too. So in a lot of those Zoom meetings, they would ask you to turn on the camera. Right? I'm just glad the camera wasn't on. Because that could have been worse, I was at home.
Yeah.
A lot of the Zoom meetings, I was underwear and maybe a little white beater tank top.
The way that I attend my meetings on Discord right now.
Yeah, very very unprofessional.
What are you talking about? That's casual business wear.
Online Zoom was great.
I definitely think that because we had this conversation when the first generation in COVID graduated, right?
Yeah.
A lot of kids missed out. Yeah. A lot of kids missed out. Or, 3 years? So that we were super locked down. So technically 2 generations of graduates missed out.
Yeah.
Shout out to my classes that graduated on Animal Crossing on the Switch. You ever see those?
I have never seen that.
I will show you a video later. Swear to God, there's videos of people graduating on Switch.
That is crazy.
They made the whole graduation ceremony in Animal Crossing.
That's fun, I guess, because everyone's just at home.
Shout out to the teacher or principal that got a free Switch and free copy of Animal Crossing out of that.
That was great.
But it's crazy to say because 3 years is a long time. A lot of freshmen went into their senior year finally going back to school.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think that the argument goes both ways now, because we were talking about how kids missed out on graduations, prom, grad night, all these fun events that we would have done. Not that no one goes.
We
to prom.
we, we, we,
No
didn't,
one.
we didn't do it.
No one cool goes to prom. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, we didn't even go to grad night. I didn't, at least.
Well, I mean, we had so much other shit that we did outside of school that
I went to work. I was at work during prom.
I think all the crazy adventures we've had since graduating made up for not doing all the pre-planned stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, you see, after I got off work at Domino's, I went to eat Chinese food at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, or you'd go pick me up at my work, and we'd go bowling and eat Chinese food.
That was the best.
Sometimes both.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, or same night, I should say, not same time. But it's crazy that the argument is now that, man, a lot of kids won't get to have these funny interactions because there's still online classes, right? But when 1 or 2 out of all of your classes are online, it's like the likelihood of those goofy interactions happening goes way down. Because I don't even know, man. I want to know how Job Corps would have taken, or I want to see what Job Corps looked like in that whole situation. Like, someone told me that, because one of the perks of going to the San Francisco Treasure Island Job Corps was you can go in the city after classes.
Yeah.
You go to your classes, you do your training, you do your high school stuff, and then you can go to the city, you can go fuck off. You just got to be back by curfew for like a evening meeting.
Yeah.
They close Job Corps. They close the campus. No visitors, no going to the city. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's still the case. But apparently you were not allowed off of campus for any reason.
Hey, that actually makes me wonder. So how was the day structured over there?
So my day typically started at like 4 or 5 in the morning. We had to be up at 6 in order to make it to the cafeteria. Cafeteria closed around, I want to say it was like 7 or 8. So you had a decent amount of time to get ready and go have breakfast. Be in class by 8. I think it was 8. I want to say I'm butchering the times, but the general structure is still the same.
Okay.
So you go to your classes. I want to say the first like chunk of your day, because I think it was like you had your classes, you had your break, you had your classes, you had your lunch, you had like work. It was like job.
Okay, so like an 8-hour like
it was
like
basically a 6, 7, 8 hour day of work.
Okay, and then you ended around like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, essentially.
That's actually really cool.
And if you lived on center, you got 3 hot meals a day. You go in the cafeteria at a certain time for breakfast, go in the cafeteria at a certain time for lunch, go in the cafeteria for a certain time for dinner. Dinner was typically served around, I want to say we were off at 3. I think it was a 7-hour day.
Oh, cool.
It was like 3 or 4 because you'd go to your meeting immediately. You'd have to go to a dorm meeting every day immediately after classes. Immediately to an hour after that, the cafeteria opened for dinner, which was usually like 6-ish, like supper time.
Okay.
And then you had the rest of the evening to do whatever you wanted. Some people, because it was a dorm situation, would get given chores certain days of the week. I got out of that because I was a student body president and I started a club.
Oh, so you didn't have to go
to
the bathroom, huh?
I didn't do any chores. Also, it wasn't communal bathroom. You shared a bathroom with one other dorm.
Oh, okay. So communal, you mean like sweep the cafeteria or something?
Like for the floor itself. Like someone had to sweep and mop the hallway.
Oh, okay.
Someone had to sweep and mop the rec room for your floor. Someone had to, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Community areas for your section of the floor.
Okay.
Because it was also separated by wing.
Oh, okay.
So my floor was 3 west. So there was a 3 east. They had their own residential office. They had their own communal area. They had their own like break room where it had a water cooler and then a fridge.
Yeah.
Full size fridge. So that was cool. I never did any of that though, because I immediately became student. I think I was the secretary for the student government, and then when I started the club, it was like I had so much work to do being the president and starting a club. I was always in meetings basically.
Okay, so you didn't have time in your day either way.
Yeah, so that was fine because I was always hanging out with my friends doing that stuff anyways. because it was a gaming club. So essentially, like, if I had business to do, it was like, okay, am I going to use student funds to do this? And by the time I was done, the day was basically over and chores should have already been done. So there's
Oh,
no
okay.
point in me getting chores.
That's cool.
I want to say I usually got like an hour or two free to myself. And then because I lived next to a lot of my guy friends, it was like if I didn't see the gal pals, I was usually doing that at like lunch or breaks. And then weekends. Weekends were free.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah. So as soon as you wake up, they still do the 3 meals a day on the weekends, but you're allowed to go to the city.
So it's like open campus pretty much.
Yeah.
For lunchtime. So did you get like a lot of gaps in between your courses, or was it just like one solid?
So if you were a minor or you didn't have your high school diploma, I think the first quarter of your day, so it depends, right? Because it was a trade school, and if you had a trade, you stay in your one trade. But before I got there was like a proper high school system where you had like 3 classes a day, but they ended up taking that out.
That hour? Oh, they ended up getting rid of it.
Yeah,
okay.
They got rid of that system.
Oh.
They ended up getting this program called Penn Foster. That's what I ended up doing. It's essentially online learning, but you're still in the classroom. So I was never getting pressed with homework deadlines or anything. It was, hey, you can do this as slow or as fast as you want to. I don't give a shit. There's no homework deadlines. The only thing was the teacher would bother us like, hey, don't sit on your phone all day in class.
Even though you did your homework.
Yeah, right. Because it's like, hey, the faster you get done with high school, the faster you can go to your trade and not be in my head. I don't gotta watch you.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was really cool. I actually do have a fun story about Job Corps. I was set. I went into the Treasure Island Job Corps in November of 17. Yeah. I was expected to graduate January or February of 18. I did not leave the Treasure Island Job Corps until July of 18.
So you decided to stay extra. Was there a reason for that? Or?
A lot of people are like, you were set to be the fastest person to accomplish your trade. I went for office administration, by the way. I kept mentioning trades. I never said what I did. I went there for office administration. I was there for business. I had no intentions of joining student government. I had no intentions of joining Friends. I loathed the idea of leaving my hometowns and not seeing my friends from home. I didn't even anticipate making friends with anyone because it's a weekly enrollment situation. I didn't even anticipate making friends with the people who I enrolled with.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I made friends with one of the people I enrolled with. And eventually I made friends with a girl that was in the week before us. And then she would introduce me to that lifelong friend I talked about who came in the week after us or 2 weeks after us.
So when you say you guys come in batches, is it like you guys are all in the same trade or?
No. Like, so the first 5 weeks of Job Corps is intake, basically.
Okay.
You get used to the structure, you get used to the rules. If you want to drop out in the first 5 weeks, it's fine.
Oh, okay. So you're just trying it out.
Yeah.
Trial period.
Yeah, it's your trial. It's basically your they call it what is it? PPT or CPT. Career preparation training.
Certified phlebotomy technician.
Sure. So there was a couple intake programs that they had. There was one called Pree 90. There was the CPT, and basically it was just like, hey, we're trying to get you used to being here. They essentially didn't want you there longer than a year, so they were trying to fast track you going through your training anyways.
Okay.
But when the intake was done for me, and they saw that I needed a high school diploma, it was like, okay, well, you're gonna be here for at least a year. Like you got to go through all the high schools. I blew through it.
You're just.
I blew through it. I literally, because it was all the stuff that I did for my test out exam that I didn't pass when I was in 10th grade. I literally failed my test out exam by one question. So the standard for math wasn't higher than Algebra 1. English is English, no matter what class you have.
Yeah.
Science, I think, was all the way up to biology, like just common biology,
Mm-hmm.
nothing specialized. And then they didn't even do history. Like they didn't bother with the extra shit that we know we don't need.
That's
So
actually really interesting.
so I blasted through it, and I was like, I was literally sitting on my last available course for like 4 months, and my teacher was haggling me, like, or trying to like haggle with me, like, hey man, like, can I just get you to do this? And every time that she would ask me if I wanted to go, she'd stop, because who do you think was showing her students how to do stuff?
You were the TA almost.
Essentially, I was the unofficial TA. Fun fact: Bad Moon only passed. Bad Moon was trying to cheat. She was trying to look at her phone the entire time. She only passed math because of me.
Were you letting her cheat?
No.
Oh, you were her tutor then.
Yes, I tutored her.
Oh, that's nice.
I taught her that lattice method bullshit that I showed on last episode. I showed her all these easy tricks to get through math. Does she remember any of them now? No.
That's unfortunate.
But she passed high school.
Hey, that's
She's a manager where she works, so it did something for her. She has basic, comprehension skills and math skills, which is kind of all that we ask for most jobs these days. Nothing is really that specialized.
Unless you go up into the specialized, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, if she wants to go back to school to learn more specialized shit, then she can.
Yeah, that's true.
So I want to say right before winter break, like December, is when I was done with all of my high school stuff, and I just decided to sandbag. I left for 2 weeks for winter break. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I left for winter break for almost a month. I came back. I looked at my desk, and all the dust had piled up. And then I realized that dust didn't pile up from me not being there for 3 weeks. It piled up because I didn't do shit.
Oh, you're just sitting there.
Yeah, I literally didn't even turn on my computer every day.
Wow, that's interesting.
Because I'd look at my teacher and be like, buddy, we already know I don't plan on passing high school right now. I'm not in the mood. Which is crazy to say, right?
Yeah. Like
I'm not in the mood to graduate today.
Which is so crazy, because when I was in high school, I was like, I want to be done. I want to move on. Get me out.
It's that environment, man. It's that being there environment. And I think one of the benefits that I received out of Job Corps was because I took upon myself all these leadership positions, I kind of just had free reign in general.
Because who's gonna take something to the manager?
Right.
You
know, a lot of the times I'd also leave class because I was doing student government stuff. The president, before I was the president, she'd come into my class and be like, "Hey, I need you to type up some stuff. Hey, we have to go hand out flyers, or we gotta go post stuff," and that would be an excuse enough to get out of class.
That's a lot,
because it was a business ran school too. Job Corps is a business ran school. So if we're getting them the results of interaction and engagement from their students, they don't care what we do.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I definitely, it's such a polarizing feeling to have enjoyed Job Corps as much as I did after knowing I didn't want to be there. And then wanting to go to university and improve my skills as much as I did, and then now I don't want anything to do with it.
You don't want anything to do with university?
Yeah.
So what did you go into university for?
So originally I started going to Full Sail because I wanted to learn how to do animation.
Yeah.
I wanted to do 2D animation, but 2D animation's going the way of the fucking leaf, Gone with the Wind, because everyone wants Disney Pixar's Frozen 7 instead of Steamboat Willie 8. So
3D instead of 2D, yeah.
So unfortunately, I was kind of forced out of my career field before I even got to choose. And I want to say that's it. I want to say I'm just not like engaged. I don't find it interesting, but that's not true. I talked to you a lot about the stuff that I was learning and when I was actively engaged.
Yeah.
I think my life caught up to me with how busy I didn't know I was gonna get, and then I got burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because we were talking about my last working situation,
yeah.
last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just took on a little bit too much, and I'm in this weird phase of needing to like catch up on like regaining that energy for myself.
Mm.
Because also school wasn't just for me. You already know personally. You know I could give a rat's ass if I have a piece of paper that says I know how to draw.
Yeah.
Because I was doing it before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have I improved since going to school? Absolutely. But really, that was for the sake of having the piece of paper, and so my parents would be like, "Hey, man, you good job."
Yeah, your parents' enjoyment, pretty much.
Yeah, right.
Like that's
Because I don't care. Why
yeah,
am I know I can do the skills.
yeah.
Here, I'll even go. I'll go a bit further. Mom and Dad, don't freak out in case you're typing angrily in comments or ready to text me. I also did it so my employers in the future, not that I want to work for anyone in this field, so my future employers would go, "Huh, you went to university. You learned how to doodle really good."
Yeah, which is a really interesting idea. That you're able to learn a skill or trade on the internet and not have the required degree, but since you have the skill set required, you are able to get a job.
Yeah.
Which I'm referring to more like the coding industry and a lot of the computer science aspect of that. Not computer science, but more like software
Yeah,
software coding.
yeah. I mean, anything computer engineering, right? Because even like the technical shit, you have to learn that shit online. They're not gonna send you a fucking computer to go learn at home.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of these software and hardware developers in training, they were probably looking at textbooks online, learning what's what.
yeah. Learning that C++,
Yeah,
which I also want to bring the conversation back to mental health and trying to balance work and school. Do you think that it is manageable depending on the result you want or the result that you're okay with?
I just saw the pinball like teleport to 5 different places. I'm sorry. Is mental health? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm also watching the pinball. But
Here, let me adjust myself too and drink something.
okay, so while you're doing that,
So is mental health?
do you prioritize mental health before the degree or before that homework assignment? And do you think it's fair that because school is so draining and I am unable to complete the assignment tonight by 11:45 that I should get docked for it in terms of my grade?
So I'll answer those in order then.
Yeah.
I no, or I didn't, and I know you know what I'm talking about. I used to not prioritize that, and that's why I'm burnt out right now. Which is very much why I'm focused on Big Chumps, my other project. I'm focused on GarboArtist. Like, if I have energy to spare, which is very rarely lately, I'm putting into this. You guys are seeing me at work right now, besides my regular 9 to 5, which I'm also enjoying. My life is very much right now me centric. If I'm uncomfortable, if I'm not happy in any capacity, I need to focus on me. And I will outright say, sorry, mom and dad, if you're listening. I hope you're not. My grades are suffering a little bit. I wish I was able to have a better work-life balance. And it's not even just work-life balance, right? Because everyone says the work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's work-life school balance. Most people in our generation, or anyone who lived through our generation that went to school, this is your life until you're like 27, dude.
Yeah, or the average 22 if you go straight out of high school into your 4-year university.
Well, I was gonna say because
Yeah.
you're not accounting for people who go for their masters, their bachelor, or not bachelors, their
Doctorate, yes.
So
Doctorate.
if you're in this position, you're stuck in this position for a good 2 to 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge part of our
Not
life.
even 2, because like one of the things I've been talking about is if most of my student debt's wiped with this recent bill or whatever the hell the education
Biden.
yeah, whatever Biden's doing for the student loans, I might just walk away with an associate's and call it. Because if I don't have to keep going, and I know I'm just gonna rack up more debt, why would I?
And to add on to, I should go to school, get an associate's, and walk away. I am burnt out from school. Let me go.
Mm.
Do you think that there is a job that will take you for your current skills alongside your associate's degree?
For my specific field, no. I'm gonna be super honest, and I'm sure the same thing can be said about a lot of other fields that are a little more technical, like medical and anything specialized.
Yeah.
If you get an associate's, you're fucked. I was barely 18. I had just turned 18, and I talked about that with a lot of employers. Also, the camera's getting blurry. What's going on here? Hello, camera? I don't know what's going on right now, but I'll lean forward so it's a little more focused on me. Pree's just gonna be in the background playing Peggle. Don't worry about him. I had a trade certificate before I even turned 18, or just after I turned 18. That did nothing for me. Fresh out of high school, already had a high school diploma and a trade certificate. No one fucking cared. And when we were younger, you heard about someone having a year long certificate, or a certificate amounting to a year's worth of training.
Yeah.
That was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
A lot of kids took time from high school. They got it authorized to take time out of high school to go get a trade certificate. And it's like, by the time 2018 rolled around, no one fucking cared I had an office administration trade certificate. So, unfortunately, I think I'm a bit boned on educational, right?
Yeah.
I do think there's merit in saying the amount of content I've created at this point and the level of I won't say popularity, because I don't think I'm by any means popular. I have 200 followers on Instagram and half of that on Twitch. But the amount of engagement and viewership that my content has garnered, I think there's something to say about that.
Yeah.
I have
some work in.
Yeah, I have some experience in my field. Not only that, I'm technically a professional by definition because I've done paid work. So I think there's something to be said about that. Unfortunately, and I realized this recently when talking to other content projects recently, because I've been reached out to, and I've done some reaching out myself. Like, hey, do you want to draw some stuff for us? Can you send us your professional portfolio? And I send it to them, and I got a call one day saying like, hey man, I think your shit's super fucking good. Unfortunately, it's not the same stuff that we want for our project. And at first I felt bad. I was like, man, the stuff I sent them is the stuff I poured my heart into.
Yeah.
But then I realized this recently, that it's not that my art's bad. It's that the art that I make caters to me and what I think is funny or what I will enjoy looking at.
Yeah.
Very much like YouTube. You make the content you want to watch.
Yeah.
So I make goofy stuff, or I make curse stuff because I think it's funny, or I get something out of it. And without context, it doesn't really give the impression of professionalism, right?
Yeah.
Because you've seen my better stuff.
Yeah.
I think, if someone told me, hey, I want you to sit in an office for 40 hours and work on a couple frames for an animation, I could probably crank out something pretty good if that was my full-time job. I 1,000,000% confidently can say, if you ask me to animate a scene, whether to do the line art, whether to make the storyboard, whatever, I think I could do it. But it's the fact that there's no consistency in my art style. I jump back and forth between anime, cartoon, realism. I don't do one thing. I specialize in everything.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades, master of none, is better than master of one than none. or whatever the full saying is,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's very much what I am in my personal life and in my professional life. I learn how to do a lot of little. I learn a little bit about a lot because I'd rather know a little bit about than and do a lot with it than, hey man, my tire blew. You know how to fix a tire? Nah, man, I just draw. You need a Disney.
Yeah.
You need a Walt Disney drawing though. I fucking got you, man. Draw the shit out of a Mickey Mouse for you. Just draw that. Just cool, man. So you know where the nearest Pep Boys is, or you got AAA, so you can help me out? Nah, man, I just draw. I can't afford nothing. I just draw Mickey Mouse. That's the best Mickey Mouse you'll ever see.
Right. Which, making it a little more broad, then, right? Because my traditional community college university experience, they teach you or they give you the option to learn a vast majority of subjects, and that doesn't relate to your field in specific.
Yeah.
But it helps broaden you and your character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did your Full Sail university experience have that for you as well?
So generally, I'm inclined to say no, because obviously, for the sake of being an accredited university, they need to have general ed. But it's tough. I want to. My knee-jerk reaction is to say no, but I think technically yes, because at the end of the day, there's a lot that goes into 3D animation, which is can be translated into like VFX, into audio, into model rigging or model creation or lighting. Like there's so many different things that go into digital animation that I think it's safe to say yes, I got taught a broad bit of everything.
Yeah.
If you ask me, am I confident in my 3D animation skills or the skills that I've learned in that class, I would tell you no.
Yeah. So, more so, my question: we had taken a psychology course, a philosophy course. You were able to take anthropology, and they made PE class a requirement.
Yeah.
I took archery, and right now I'm currently taking walking. Not the most physically active activities you can do.
I'm pretty sure we did that when we were in 7-Eleven an hour ago.
Yeah, and so there isn't a such specific course that you need to have almost the best skills at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could basically have almost no athletic ability and take that class, and it wouldn't matter at all. So, did you have courses like that?
No, I would
more
say
intro classes than anything else.
Yeah, no, I would say no then. It's pretty much structured from the jump because it's an accelerated course. So they know what they want you to take. In terms of the variety is having a little bit of knowledge for each subset of the field. But besides that, no, it's pretty like one track mind. You choose your degree, you know what you're doing.
Okay.
And obviously, like every other school, you can change what you're doing, but it might set you back a fair bit of money and time because you have to go.
Yeah, and then start from the bottom on that other side. If it doesn't,
besides the general ed and the intro courses that they give you for the school itself. But yeah, I would say no.
No. Yeah. See, and the reason why I bring that variety up, when you say burnout, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it has to deal with you're stuck in the same subject for so long? If that makes sense, like you don't get to learn something completely different during your day.
No. I think the phrasing of that makes me want to say yes, but also no. I very much enjoyed doing it. I don't think it was the lack of stimulation for other like topics. Part of it was just like there was weeks where I was only doing school stuff, where you would have asked me like, "Hey, do you want to go eat?" "Hey, man, I got homework. I'm sorry." Which was very uncommon for both of us. Like usually it was, "Hey, you want to go eat?" "Yeah, man." But there were the few weeks where you and I would both tell each other no because we both had homework that we really had to get done. And I think it more so just became, I was a shift manager at my job, and I was trying to be attentive to my girlfriend. I wanted to take time for myself. That I would lose track of time. I'd be redoing like the same because my class was an entire month. Like I'd have a unit or a section each week. I had the entire class for the month, and I think extreme slide. God damn it, I did it again. Um, so I think it's just losing track of time and then redoing the exact same course. Yes, but I also can't. I don't feel like it's doing the same thing was the issue because I don't feel like I genuinely gave it a proper try.
Okay.
So my burnout, I attribute to lack of proper time management, but also just taking too much on my plate.
Yeah. Do you think that a lot of the universities tell you to take a minimum of 12 units,
Yeah,
which, if you consider it full time, and your hope is a person doesn't work
yeah,
2 8-hour jobs a day or have that type of workload,
yeah.
would you say that the education system kind of screws us over from the jump because of that?
Absolutely. I don't think. I think any situation for schooling where you have to set a deadline for someone makes it very arbitrary to be like, "Hey, buddy, like we're gonna give you the like for the states, we have the Pell Grant, right?
Yeah,
Or is that just California, or is that all the states?
I'm pretty sure that one's all.
So whatever financial aid this our country offers us. Hey, buddy, we understand you want to go to school. We also understand that we can't offer you a free ride, which is fine. I go to a private school, so whatever, right? Like in your situation, you go to a university, so if they could offer you a full ride because it's a state brand thing, whatever, right?
Yep.
That's just the way that we both rolled the dice. I think it's very arbitrary though to be like, hey, we want you to have a better education, but we're gonna put all these restrictions on how you can do it. I don't think it's very reassuring because even workers, right? Or
Yeah.
not workers, employers, I should say. I've never met a boss, or I've never had a boss that didn't give me shit for having school, but not without, tell me your boss gives you shit without telling me your boss gives you shit.
Yeah.
Because they legally cannot give you shit for having school,
Yeah.
but they can make your life a living hell. They can make it hard.
Yeah.
So I think part of it's the government. I think the government makes it a little stressful on the school side of it, but also just employers aren't giving us any favors either. Like if everything I was doing in school was free except for the equipment I've gotten from my school, because like my school provided an iPad, an iMac, all this software. If I had to pay for that myself, I'd be in a much different situation financially.
Well, part of your tuition, yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm saying because my biggest, I don't even know how to word this part. There's a lot of tuition parts that I'm paying for that I don't get the full benefit of that payment. Like class fees, or like the in-person shit that they put on your tuition.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I'm paying for where I could walk up to, if it was like a regular store, I could be like, hey, I didn't receive this service. Why am I paying for it? Why am I paying for any facility-based fees if I'm not at that facility? If Full Sail doesn't have a dorm ready for me right now, why am I paying housing fees? Like, I guarantee you, if I go into my payment plan situation for my school, if I look through the details, I'll find things that should not apply to me.
Yeah, and that's
That's
actually
not
something my university deals with as well.
yeah.
So we have we have a student building,
Yeah.
right? My summer class is online.
Mhm.
I'm still paying for that building.
Yep.
And if I don't use the building, whatever, I'm paying for it.
You know what's crazy about that? And we just touched on it. Your school is administered by the state. The government owns that service. And yet, you could easily be paying for almost as much as I am for my private university for what you're doing.
Yep.
That's insane to me. Like it boggles, like, because I it's always a meme, right? Like, oh, free healthcare, free whatever in other countries,
Yeah.
free school. It genuinely blows my mind that that's not so. Why is high school or for a primary school? Why is high school, elementary school, middle school a thing then? My parents didn't pay for that shit. It was public. It was free. I had to go. I legally had to go to that.
Yeah.
Our government wants us to be more educated. They want us to be better. They want us to be better workers for our country. And yet, the same government's the one that's shooting us in the foot.
That topic is very interesting because when you were talking about how if you had an associate's degree, it doesn't benefit you because employers don't care for that low form of a degree in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that is something that should be free, like you said, and part of our normal education system then?
Absolutely.
Because that's almost like the bottom line or the baseline, like a high school diploma is, except for that higher end companies, I guess, or more advanced companies that do require some form of former training.
We're hitting the hour mark right now, so I'll speed run through this last point.
Question.
Yeah. My father gave me a lot of shit when I was talking about going back to school 4 years ago now. 3 years ago, 4 years ago now. He was telling me, son, why don't you just go to community college? You basically pay for nothing. I looked at my father, because you were in community college at the time with our Yu-Gi-Oh friend. I said, Dad, you're full of fucking shit. You're full of shit. Because he swore to God. He swore up and down. He would even yell at me sometimes because he was so upset about the school I was talking about going to. He'd be like, son, the government's trying to help you out. They're basically paying for everything. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because if they were, I wouldn't have to find resources to pay for school.
That's a good point right there. Because everyone's financials are different. And it's very unfortunate that even though on paper it says we're making X dollars amount as a family, but they don't say, or they don't see,
or they don't even act, like in my situation, right? I haven't lived with my family for what, 4 years now?
Yeah, and then even if you don't live with them,
I'm still financially responsible.
There's still an expected family contribution. Yeah.
Both of my parents in this last 7 days, so then the last week, they both were like, why do you need us to do Parent Plus loan again? Why do you need us to look at your FAFSA again? Because technically I'm your dependent for another 3 fucking years.
Yeah.
I don't get to choose that. I didn't arbitrarily choose to be your dependent. I moved out. I wanted to not be your dependent.
Yeah, I think the expected family contribution is great for those
who have a family to contribute.
For those who have a family that has the extra funds to contribute. Because at the end of the day, as students are not able to control that.
It also doesn't account for like mom and dad have a car note to pay for. It also doesn't account for mom and dad don't own their house. Like
exactly what I was going to say. We are not in control of that. And by default, because of their financial decisions, I don't get these great resources that the government provides for people that are not my family.
For people like me, the service that was made for people like me and my family, I don't get the contribution because dad makes $2 extra an hour.
And his $2 extra goes to something that isn't towards your education,
Absolutely.
like a pack of cigarettes or
just paying for his house and his car, because I don't live with him. I don't live with him. That's something that should be considered too. My address hasn't been the same as my parents' address for 4 years. And FAFSA never once called any of us and said, hey, is he not your dependent? If the trade-off, because right now I'm using my mother's insurance, medical insurance. If the trade-off was I tell the government I'm not a dependent anymore, I wonder if I can emancipate myself, actually. Can I emancipate myself at 22? If the trade-off was I don't get the benefit of my parents' medical coverage or insurance, but I get free school up to 2 years, absolutely would take it in a heartbeat. Because guess what? At least that associates, that's 2 years on my 2 years worth of credits on my bachelor's. I can manage that with loans.
Yeah, well, and you're also able to manage your health insurance through California's great Medi-Cal.
That too, actually. A lot of people are like, ew, Medi-Cal, Medicare, whatever. Sutter hospitals are everywhere in California.
Hey, you know what I think
more
about...
Sutters in California than there is Kaisers half the time.
You know, I'd say help is better than no help.
Absolutely. I think that should be a thing. That I'm going to send this podcast episode to Mr. Joe when it goes up. So then he can hear what the people think. Yep.
2 people think.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Oh, I guarantee
but 2 voices.
I guarantee you if we promote the shit out of this episode, we can get a lot of engagement. And Mr. President
Mr.
Joe can hear what everyone has to think. Don't comment if you're not in school right now. Actually, comment if you went to school but aren't in school right now.
Comment if you are in high school and you are trying to think of what your future is going to be.
Comment if you're in high school and you know you're too broke to go to college. Yikes.
I wonder if you're in high school and you don't even know if you're going to go to college.
Well, no, because that could be a decision, not financial influence.
I mean, no, it is financial influence. You know, it's like...
No, I'm saying, but like...
I could go to work.
Like, I chose to go to work because I didn't want to go back to school. That was a non-financial decision. Because I could have gone to community fresh out of high school, right? I just didn't want to.
You want to know something interesting?
Huh.
So, the average... Sorry, no, I'm not going to say the average because that's not correct.
Okay.
My semester at community college to take like a full amount of credits per semester is roughly $3,000 for tuition, something like that.
Yeah. Very manageable.
Well, yeah, right. If you are in a situation like us where we would have to come out of that out of pocket or get loans for it.
Yeah.
Is it very manageable? Because that is every, what is that, 4 months, 16 weeks, 4 months?
Yeah.
And the cutoff date is usually like the month into school, and then they just drop you because you didn't pay any money, or they won't let you go into the subsequent semester because you didn't pay the previous semester.
I think my initial living situation when I had moved back home with my dad for a short while, and I wasn't really paying rent, I think that would have been manageable. Especially knowing what my financials would turn into, I think very manageable. It would have been a little strap for a bit, but, you know, pre me paying a full $2,000 for rent, absolutely doable.
While you're still living with your parents.
Yeah. Or while I'm still paying, you know, less than $700 for my rent. Because there was a point where I was just renting rooms. So I think once upon a dream, absolutely, very manageable. But... we digress. We hit the hour mark. I think it's a good stopping point.
My final question. Where should your mental health be on your priority list?
Top. Number one.
And that's where we're going to end it. Keep a positive attitude. Go outside.
PMA.
PMA, huh?
Jacksepticeye promotes it. Literally positive mental attitude.
Oh, positive mental attitude. Yes. Go outside. Apparently, science says that if you go outside, you have better odds of having a more positive attitude.
Touch some grass. Stop playing Valorant or League. Trust me, does not help. Does not help. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching.
If you liked this video, leave us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to this. Leave us a thumbs up, subscribe, follow us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.